Who Are We and Where Are We by Carolina Nacouzi. I'm going to start off my presentation by briefly explaining what the scientific revolution is about. And just to kick things off, I'll inform you that it began in the 1540s and is claimed to have ended in the late 1800s, although some people believe that it has not ended yet. The scientific revolution was a time period in history that improved and changed our ways of thinking and life. It gave a person freedom of expression of belief. Instead of sticking up for their religions like they have been brought up to do, people were given the option of believing the science side of it. Before the scientific revolution, people's religions were the only beliefs and knowledge they had on where we humans come from. They believed that God put us humans on this earth himself. The chaos between religion and science began when a man, Charles Darwin, informed us that human race evolved from apes, and discoveries such as this one on evolution were often doubted, and it was thought incorrect at first, but most claims made often turned out to be valid, although it took time for people to believe them and follow them. Before I get into the presentation itself, I shall start by introducing to you the format the presentation is laid out in. I will begin with who we are, and where that question could be coming from, along with people's individual beliefs between science and religion. Then you will hear about where we are and where that question could come from, along with how our ways of living have improved from the new discoveries and technology available. Then I will give you a brief idea on my opinion, who I am and where I am. Finally, though I will not be going through it, you will be able to find the sources I used to gather any information for this presentation. Next, moving on to our first topic, who we are. When we ask ourselves who we are, typical answers would usually be people, living creatures, and humans. But where did humans come from? Our past determines who we are, and in this case, who we are is usually determined as a being created and put on earth by God, or as a living creature that was formed in the Big Bang and eventually evolved from an ape-like creature. The question who we are overall originates from when Charles Darwin published back in 1859 his theory of evolution, claiming that throughout many years we evolved from apes into the humans we are today. And then, of course, the church was against this because they believed that God put us on this earth in our human state from the start. Then there's the question, where are we? I believe this question originates from the fact that we are on Earth, and Earth can either be in the center of the solar system or it can be a part of it. This gives me the opportunity to tell you about the time when there was a huge rivalry between the church and Galileo Galilei. Galileo was making lots of money from his inventions, and he used a telescope, his invention, to study the stars, planets, and sun. After years of research and data, he produced his own book informing people that the sun, rather than the earth, is in the middle of the solar system. This became yet again another problem with the church, who believed that God placed us on earth and humans in the center. The reason being because Galileo was simply trying to inform people about the scientific truth, whereas the church saw it as a way to influence people's ideas on God and Christianity. Also, since the church speaks for God, contradicting the church would be like contradicting God, so they would not have that. Naturally, Galileo was not in a good position since he was placed under house arrest, and later on forced to admit being wrong about the earth's placement under the punishment of execution if he didn't. Having avoided execution, he was kept under house arrest, being allowed to continue his research under the condition that nothing were to be published for the rest of his life. That until he died years later at the age of 78. Now I'm going to move on to my opinion and some backing information. Both Darwin and Galileo were targeted at by the church for having a different opinion, the earth and its people, along with solid proof that the church was wrong. especially Galileo, to almost be punished by execution for publishing a book on his life's work is a bit extreme even for the circumstance. If the Church values God so much as to call out an innocent man for disagreeing with them, why go against God's own sixth commandment that reads, "You shall not murder"? Now, here's my own point of view on the topic. Personally, I believe things when I see them. Therefore, I have evidence that a certain event is real or unreal. Both Darwin and Galileo have proved themselves correct. I believe that the Earth is not in the center, the Sun is. And I think that evolution makes more sense in appearing on the planet already in full human form. I also do not believe that the scientific revolution has ended, since we are coming up with new technology and discoveries every year up until now, from inventions to new diseases and cures. Thank you for watching my presentation about the scientific revolution. I hope it was helpful. And if you carry on watching, you will be able to get a view of the sources I used to gather the information.